Having witnessed a lot of dips in her mock score, she was left with no other choice but to leave CLAT preparation as it is. 1 good month is what it takes to crack CLAT. Just the last month and CLAT in front of you, you have to give it all in. Exactly 30 days are left for the CLAT 2026 and we are feeling the anxiety even more. Some of us are having sleepless nights. Some of us are worrying what happens if we are not able to clear CLAT. Some of us are fearing how are we going to cover the backlog of current affairs, of legal current affairs, of the various topics. Well, I have a good news for you. Yes, you can. Yes, you can clear the backlog of current affairs. Yes, you can clear the backlog of legal current affairs. And yes, you can crack CLAT. Before we begin, I would like to go ahead and tell you a small story. The story is about Diksha, an aspirant who started her CLAT preparation rather well. Her table looked like a battlefield, half-torn notes, highlighted newspapers and whatnot. So she started off really well, started giving mocks, started scoring well. But after a point in time, she saw a dip in her mock scores. Having witnessed a lot of dips in her mock score, she was left with no other choice but to leave CLAT preparation as it is. She tried really hard, but she was not able to do it. Now, one day, while cleaning her desk, she found a sticky note. On that sticky note, she found she had written herself, 1 good month is what it takes to crack CLAT. She flipped it over to find that she had herself written that I will crack NLS Bangalore. And at that moment, everything changed. She started all of a sudden with a fresh energy. She said to herself that if at all I have been preparing for CLAT for so many days, I am going to give this preparation a fresh lease of energy. She, her notes and her room, these were the 3 things which mattered to her now. She gave it all for the last month, cracked NUJS, and now she is working with one of the prominent law firms in the country. Well, this was my motivation to you that if she can, you can as well. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to write on a sticky note or on a piece of paper that I will crack NLS Bangalore. You paste it on your desk and you start preparing. No looking back. Just the last month and CLAT in front of you, you have to give it all in. Now, I'm not asking you to devote 15-16 hours. I'm just asking you to be consistent in your preparation. Give it all in the sense that you are constantly working towards any and everything which will lead you to get into NLS Bangalore. Right? Now, this video is divided into 4 parts. We'll try and understand how do you identify your weak areas, how do you work on them. We'll try and understand how do you clear backlogs of current affairs and legal current affairs. We'll move on and understand how mock is extremely critical for you right now. And then the last but not the least will be revision techniques. So starting off, the first topic, of course, is identification of the weak areas and working on them. So identify your weak areas. These weak areas could be probably legal current affairs, could be current affairs for you, could be quantitative techniques, could be critical reasoning questions. All of them needs to be identified and worked really hard on. आपको लग रहा है कि यार कॉम्प्रिहेंशन में मेरे को दिक्कत हो रही है, आप 1 से 1.5 घंटा हर दिन का रख लो पैसेज सॉल्विंग के लिए. Now this passage solving has to be a timed manner. Try and ensure that you're wearing an analog watch मतलब कांटे वाली घड़ी, and you're practicing these questions as much as possible. If you think your general knowledge is really weak, try and ensure that you are covering all the backlogs, you are thorough with the compendiums, you have revised a little bit of static as well. Because if I were to talk about GK, of course this is something which takes a lot of time and any and everything under the sea can come. But what you can do is you can revise as much as possible. We'll try and understand that in depth in my second point. But here, if at all I'm identifying a weak area, I'll have to work on it on a regular basis, on a daily basis, and I have to devote at least 1.5 hours to it. Now, when it comes to your weak areas, there are 2 things which you will have to do. One is identifying it and then practicing it as much as possible, right? The second point, of course, is to clear backlogs. Ensure that your legal current affairs and your current affairs backlogs are taken good care of. Now for that, of course, we are attaching the link of the most important legal current affairs topics and the current affairs topics on the video description. So you might want to take a look at that. But having said that, again it becomes extremely important for us to read from just one source. आप अगर current affairs की बात कर रहे हो या legal current affairs की भी बात करो, ये बहुत ज़्यादा vast है. So you cannot keep on extracting topics from various sources and then expect to cover everything. आपको एक source consistently follow करना है. अब मैं बुराई नहीं कर रहा हूँ किसी specific source की. It could be any source which you are following, but ensure that you are covering at least 150, 170 odd current affairs topics, and same goes for legal current affairs. Could be slightly lesser, maybe around 120, 130 important topics in the entire year, but then you'll have to follow it religiously. आपको ये भी इंश्योर करना है that you do not go beyond 20th or 22nd of November to cover the current affairs and legal current affairs. But yes, try and include legal current affairs and current affairs on your daily routine, right? The third most important part here would be mocks. Now, when it comes to mocks, of course, this is something which is extremely critical for you at this point. The first thing which you are going to do when it comes to mocks is to finalize your sequence. So pick up any sequence which has worked for you and then finalize it, because what will happen is if you keep on fluctuating, by sequence I mean the approach when it comes to the sections. So whatever sections which you have been attempting in an order, in a sequence, has to be finalized, right? Secondly, you are supposed to practice the mocks from 2 to 4, which is the actual time of the CLAT. Do not go before or beyond that. It becomes extremely important for you to condition your brain in that point of time. Why? Because when the CLAT actually happens, your brain will be optimally utilized to perform extremely well at that time, right? Third would be conditioning yourself in a timed environment. By timed environment, I mean you have to try and finish the mocks at 1 hour 50 minutes. Do not take more time than that. Why? Because you will require at least 5-7 minutes, and there could be centers जहाँ पे आपको 2-3 मिनट के बाद ही CLAT का पेपर लेने दिया जाए. तो आपको ये इंश्योर करना है जब आप मॉक्स दे रहे हो, try and fix 1 hour 50 minutes for the entire mocks, and then of course you can revise and do the other miscellaneous things. The fourth and the most important bit about the mocks is of course your analysis. You'll have to maintain a logbook and error book जहाँ पे आप अपने एरर्स को, जो भी आपने मॉक में एनालाइज करा है, उसको लिख रहे हो, कॉन्स्टेंटली डॉक्यूमेंट कर रहे हो. दिस विल become extremely important. Now, when it comes to giving mocks, of course, you are supposed to give 3 to 4 mocks in a matter of 10 days. अब इसमें आप CLAT और ALET दोनों के mocks को दे सकते हो, but do not go beyond that because you do not have the time, and that would detrimentally affect your entire preparation, right? So ये आपको mocks के लिए करना है. And then coming to my fourth point, which is of revision and strategizing constantly. तो आपको हर दिन एक टाइम टेबल बनाना है. यू हैव टू इंश्योर दैट वट एवर timetable you have made, you have covered everything. Now that timetable should include general knowledge. Ideally आप legal current affairs को भी आप उसमें include कर सकते हो. Now is not the time for you to read newspaper, so I would not recommend you to read newspaper after 15th of November also. हाँ, आपको अगर reading comprehension, अपनी reading speed के लिए newspaper पढ़ना है, you can do that, but do not expect that reading newspaper after 15th November can solve your current affairs backlog and current affairs problems. आपको उस पर काम करना पड़ेगा, करंट अफेयर्स टॉपिक्स को आइडेंटिफाई करने पड़ेंगे, एंड यू विल हैव टू वर्क ऑन इट, राइट? अपार्ट फ्रॉम इट, ऑफ कोर्स आपको रिविजन करना है हर दिन. यू विल हैव टू सी वट एवर यू हैव रेड, एंड यू विल हैव टू गिव योर सेल्फ एटलीस्ट हाफ एन आवर जस्ट टू स्ट्रक्चर योर थॉट्स वेल. इट विल डेफिनेटली गिव यू मोर कॉन्फिडेंस, एंड सब्सिक्वेंट डे में क्या होगा कि आप और तरीके से और स्ट्रक्चर्ड मैनर से प्रिपेयर कर पाओगे. टाइम टेबल भी डू नॉट मेक इट मोर देन 2 days. आइडली इट शुड बी ऑफ 1 day. Do not go beyond 2 days because the timetable needs to be constantly calibrated and curated. तो आपको ये इंश्योर करना है कि आप अपना टाइम टेबल ऐसा रियलिस्टिक बनाओ जो आप पुल ऑफ कर सको. Now this has to include at least 6 to 7 hours of preparation, right? Now, having said that, CLAT is not a very difficult paper, but yes, it requires preparation. आपको प्रैक्टिस करना है, आपको ये इंश्योर करना है you are trying to cover each and every of your weaknesses. You have to be extremely consistent and you have to constantly boost your morale. What happens to a lot of us that we constantly get demoralized. It could be because of mock score, it could be because of our friends performing exceedingly well, but you and only you should take care of your morale. So you'll have to constantly boost your morale, and for that I've told you, you can write, I will have to crack NLS, I will get into that dream law school which I've always dreamt of. But all of this has to be done by you. I'm pretty sure with this video you will be able to get that impetus which you needed. For those of you who need a final push to crack CLAT, we have launched our crash course. You might want to join that. The links are in this description, of course. But for all those of you who are attempting CLAT, I wish you all the best, and I'm pretty sure you are going into that dream law school which you have always imagined yourself to be in. So do well, all the best for CLAT.